Hello, and welcome to Secret Society Read, where we read and review books from the 80s and beyond, all those nasty, creepy, gross horror that we can find. But today we're going to talk about a movie. So instead of reading, we watched. And we're going to talk about the movie Pin, based on the book Pin by Andrew Neiderman, that we just did a very long deep dive on. So the movie follows the book fairly closely. We are going to do a little bit of movie spoiling at some point, but we're going to talk about it a little bit before we get right into there. We've all seen it. And of course, I am Virgil, the corpse choker, and I'm joined by Chris, our crypt wizard. Darkness and doom to you, Chris.
Darkness and doom, and I'm joined here behind me, wrong arm, with Pin. You can see
your own Pin over
my head here.
That creepy baby, of course.
Yeah.
And then we have Bryan, our tomb licker. Darkness and doom to you, Bryan.
Darkness and doom to you.
I know it. So what did you guys think of the movie?
I liked it. I think that if I had not read the book first, I would have liked it more.
Yeah.
Because I think I like the book more.
Yeah, I like the book more, but I think that you're right. If I would have seen this in the 80s, I would have thought it was great. If I would have seen it in the 90s, I think if I would have saw it yesterday before I read Pin, I would have loved it. I didn't read Pin today, but if I would have seen it before I read Pin, I would have really loved it. And I still think this is a very worthwhile movie. And I just want to quickly do the barest of synopsis.
Yes. Please, take it away.
We did just do a huge deep dive on this book. So if you want to go watch that, you absolutely should. But this movie has a great synopsis, and that is there is this creepy anatomical doll that a doctor uses in his office to kind of do ventriloquism through in order to make kids less scared of medical procedures. But he gets so into this that he kind of uses it on his children continuously. And it kind of warps at least one of their minds, actually both of their minds. He has got a son and a daughter, and it kind of warps both their minds. And this is the story of Pin and the brother and sister around Pin. And maybe we can put a picture up here of this anatomical doll because it was an awesome prop.
Yes.
I mean, talk about a unique monster. Like, it's not Chucky. It's not a doll. It's not the little doll in, what was that really terrifying story with the little like native doll?
Oh, the Zuni fetish doll.
Yes.
From Trilogy of Terror.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not that. It's not just a doll movie. It is very unique, and I think it would fall closer to psychological horror. There's a tiny bit of camp, but overall I think this movie takes itself really seriously.
Mm-hmm. And I do think as an adaptation to the book, they were pretty faithful, and they did a good job. Some different choices were made and some things were cut, but on the whole, it makes sense why they made those changes. And I like some of them, and I think it is well done.
Yeah.
And a faithful adaptation.
Yeah. And we're going to be talking about, I think, a lot of scenes from this movie that make it worth watching, and kind of how they differ from the book, or if they're better or different or whatever. But I do want to say, if you've come here wondering, should I watch this crazy movie from 1988 called Pin about an anatomical dummy? The answer is absolutely yes. From me, this is one you should absolutely watch.
Totally. Definitely I recommend. I think it's really good. It is from the 80s. It does have some of that 80s style to it, I guess you could say.
Charm.
But,
yes.
There you go.
Big hair.
Which I didn't mind at all, but that's maybe because I'm used to that. But I thought it did a really great job. I thought it really developed it well. It is the quality of the movie is is kind of like a made for TV like quality. It was not made for TV. I think it was a direct to video release. So there's a little bit of nudity in it, but that's it.
Yeah.
I don't know, so it wasn't really, and I don't think it was particularly super graphic or anything at any
No, my
point.
kid watched half of it with me, and
Yeah.
she's not really broken into horror movies yet. But I mean, she was like, "So wait, is Pin alive?" I mean, like yeah, nothing scared her. She was just like, "This is weird." So yeah, I don't think. I mean, it definitely. There's some moments that would be weird conversations, and my kid didn't see the early part. But the opening for this movie I absolutely loved, and it's a little bit different than the opening for the book, although it still has this kind of circular narrative that the book that Bryan pointed out, the book also shares with the prologue and the end of the book. But there are kids, neighborhood kids, that have snuck up to this big old house, and they are looking in a window because there's this unmoving human form in the window, and they're trying to figure out if it's a dummy or what's going on. And this felt like the most kind of goosebumps of beginnings for this story.
I'm gonna say the same thing. It's like an episode of It's like an episode of the Goosebumps or something at first. I was like, this is a weird tone for this book to take, this movie to take for the book.
Well, and it's also a very smart way to handle the prologue in this book. As we talked about in the last video, the prologue in this book is from the perspective of someone or something sitting in a chair, looking out the window, having thoughts, but you don't really know who it is or what it is or what's going on. And I think it was a smart way to show someone sitting in a window from a child's perspective outside, because we can't get into the thoughts of a character in a movie in the same way we can in a book.
Right.
We use different languages. And this was an interesting way to show a very similar mystery without, but from a different perspective.
Yeah. And it brought the town in a way that I didn't feel like the book ever did. Like we see people, like they bring people home from town, but we get this concept of, oh, like this has become a haunted house for this town. Like what's this weird ass house with this thing always in the window that the kids like do bravery tests with, because the kid eventually climbs up into the window to figure out what this thing is, and it does not end well for the kid. It doesn't die or anything, but it scares the crap out of him, right? And then we dive into this story. Now, we're not going to go plot point by plot point through this movie. We're going to be discussing different scenes and how they relate to the book. So hopefully you've seen the movie or read the book when you're watching this, because we are going to get into
watched us talk about the book,
or watched us the big deep dive we did, because we're going to get into spoiler territory from here on out. And the next scene for me, and I don't know if it's the scene for you guys, is of course Pin in the office with the nurse. That was the next one that really brought my attention up.
Yeah, definitely the show. So yeah, we get this. The early part of the movie is very similar to the book. We get these kids growing up. Their dad doesn't speak directly to them or about many things. He's a lot of social, like emotional distance, but he does talk to them using ventriloquism with this dummy, like throwing his voice onto the dummy, and the kids like sit in front of the dummy or this medical dummy and like ask it questions, and it talks to them. But there's a whole thing too with the doctor, like you don't talk to Penn when I'm not here, and everything. And the doctor is somebody, he's an actor that's known, and I can't remember his name.
I can't either. He did a good job. He was a good choice for that.
Yeah. All the acting seemed good to me. I never was pulled out by the acting.
No.
Yeah. And before we jump to the nurse, the doctor is talking to some kids with the dummy, and then he leaves the room, and Leon, the son, is in the room, and he starts talking to the dummy when the doctor's not in the room. The doctor walks back in, doesn't make it all the way in, sees this happening, and starts throwing his voice and communicating to his child, essentially encouraging his son to believe that Pin is real.
Oh, wow.
Or encouraging Leon to believe Pin is real, because Leon doesn't know the doctor's behind him.
Right.
And this particular facet was not quite in the book.
No, I agree. Yeah.
And so they're implying the doctor for whatever reason, essentially deliberately led Leon down this track in the movie.
Interesting. And to him, he was probably like, I'm having fun with my kid, and I know ventriloquism, right? But
Maybe, yeah.
the consequences of that choice are huge.
Yes.
Yeah, there is in this novel a thread of familial relations, is how we're saying this, brother and sister, and I feel like that was hinted at in the movie. There's definitely some obsession that Leon has with his sister, but in this movie, and this is probably the raciest part of the entire movie, there's a nurse that works at the doctor's office that, when nobody else is around, likes to have her way with this anatomical dummy. Like, why? I cannot figure out for the life of me, but that's what they did in this movie to show us that Leon is confused sexually in connection to Pin. And that, I feel like they had to do that because this was a movie, and they couldn't show that scene as being his sister. But in the book, it makes a lot more sense.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Before we talk about anything real, I just have to, as Chris slowly slips into darkness over there, I feel like the hand over there makes it look like you're just doing this while you're talking.
Get closer to it.
Like you threw a hand.
Eventually, it'll only be the hand in the head that we can see.
It's killing me. All right. Sorry.
I'm going to give you a 5. That kind of works. It's kind of hard to tell.
I'm Pin. I'm becoming Pin.
Yes.
All
right, you can continue, Virgil. I couldn't focus on anything other.
High five.
Hard to say, but no. So yeah, and it doesn't. So yeah, in the book, it's clear that the brother and sister, that many things have happened. We're not quite sure to the level or when things happened. In the movie, it's a lot more like maybe it happened, or maybe it's just he's sort of obsessed with his sister or something. You're not real. I don't know if it's ever really certain, or if it's really directly communicated that something has happened, because in the book it's clear something has.
No, I don't.
Well, here's my biggest issue with the movie versus the book. Is that in the book, as we discussed, if you watched our last video, that both children are significantly messed up by their childhood. In the movie, it makes it seem like Leon is messed up and the sister's kind of not.
Yeah, she's just a normal.
Am I wrong on that? She's just kind of.
No, that's the impression.
They kind of eliminated that.
They talked about the need a tiny bit, and she gets promiscuous as a teenage girl, and they do have, I think, the abortion part, but none of it is. I feel like the movie's pointing to Ursula as just a normal teenage girl with this very, very strange brother. Yeah. But the movie added something, and I know we're jumping through quick, but I don't want to do a deep read of this like we did with the book. It added a level that I don't think the book could do as well, and that is, in the book we're constantly wondering if this dummy is coming alive, but I think the book is so vague, it kind of is put to rest quickly, whereas the movie, they could visually do stuff that the book could not do. And the scene that I just thought was absolutely incredible is the death of Leon and Ursula's parents.
Oh, yes.
Because Pin is in the back seat, and the mom is terrified of Pin and hates Pin. And he's driving like crazy because he's late to this thing. And so the car going around turns, starts moving Pin in the back seat, and it makes the sheet fall off of Pin, and you've got this. I mean, this is such a good prop. This dummy is so scary, and you're like, wait, is Pin like messing with them? And you really question that in this movie, And then, of course, the parents get into a car accident, and you still wonder. And the movie keeps this going. What's the other scene where Pin's moving around? Oh,
There's one where, so a little bit later, Leon has this woman come over to the house, and he's going to sleep with her ostensibly, but then he sort of changes his mind. But so she sort of mocks him and says, "Well, I thought we were going to do something, and just says some nasty things because she's ticked off that he like got her all the way over here, and she's like basically undressed, and he's like, "Oh, I don't want to be with you," So she's annoyed, but so he like sneaks downstairs and takes her jacket into a dark room and like puts Pin in this like wheelchair. That the wheelchair is controlled by remote control, which is an interesting thing for Leon to have, and he starts like chasing her around the house with Pin in this wheelchair, and it's kind of it's hilarious and freaky at the same time.
It's a perfect way to translate the book to the screen. Like you were saying, Bryan, it's a different language. You have to have these scary moments, and the book is creep all the way through. The movie needs scary moments where you have to put the blanket up over your face. You know what I mean? And
you're absolutely right about that driving scene. I kind of forgot about that, but it is brilliant in that you can totally view it as like, oh, well, she's just creeped out by the doll and she doesn't like that her kids interact with it and all this stuff. But you can also very easily question, is Pin doing this? And I agree, that is one of the better aspects of the movie.
Oh, fantastic. And this one with the Pin seems like he's moving around in the wheelchair by himself. I loved it. I thought it was great. And it's so weird to be like, the sister comes home and she's like, oh, he's just playing with his little toy and he's got this little remote control. And I'm like, oh my God, that's brilliant. I mean, what a great way to bring Pin to the screen in that sense. It's really, really, really well done in those moments.
I love too when he walks away and like he has Pin following him, like so he's like halfway to so he's still working the remote and Pin's like following him down the hall. It's like, this is so crazy.
So in the book, when the parents die, I can't remember, does Leon dress up Pin in his father's suit?
Yes.
I thought so, but he does not paint Pin's face with makeup to make it look like skin.
No, he does not.
So in the movie, he paints makeup on Pin's face to make it look like skin to, I guess, really hit home like this is a sort of stand-in for his father maybe or something. It's creepy looking. The effect is very creepy, but I don't know that I like that they did that because I like that it's an anatomical dummy.
Yeah. Right.
And I feel like that kind of took it away.
Yeah, and I don't feel like Leon ever felt that Pin needed to be hidden or needed to be more human in the book. No. Pin is absolutely real, and it's weird because it's hard to figure out what the motivation for covering up his face is. It really is, and of course, I can figure out the motivation from a director's point of view. It looks scary as hell, and it needs to match with the end of the movie. They can't make Leon look like an
true.
Yeah. So, but you're right. It doesn't make a lot of sense thematically in the film.
Yeah. And the original iteration of Pin in the movie is super creepy. Like it's like as memorable as seeing like that is like from like Hellraiser. It's like as memorable as like that to me. It's like you see like, ooh, it's like this is a creepy image. Like you see Pin in the movie, you're like, that's pretty damn creepy.
Pin at the beginning in the movie before he paints his face is scarier than my imagination of Pin in the book.
Yes, nice. Absolutely.
Which is why it was such a bummer when they the second half of the movie he's just got the like makeup on his face. I was like,
he looks just kind of
like such a perfect
weird. Yeah.
You guys just said the exact same thing at the exact same
You're welcome.
Exactly.
Oops.
Oh. Your robe is something, Virgil.
Corpse Choke giving us a little bit of a show.
Sorry. We never decided if we take them off halfway through these video reviews, so hopefully nobody's roasting.
No, I'm good now.
It
got chilly enough, so.
Yeah, so I thought there were so many things about the movie that I really liked. The other, so after the parents have died in the book, the movie just followed the book like that. Although we get this, of course, that scene in the movie with the Pin being involved is absolutely that we don't. It's all off camera in the book, and Pin isn't in the car either in the book.
Right.
But then there's a scene where an aunt comes to live with him in the movie, and basically starts like there's a moment where like Leon and Ursula are sort of like feel like
Free.
released. Now we're on our own. We can do what we want. It's like, oh, this is going to be great. And then this aunt swoops in, and they're still just a little bit young. And so she's like, well, I'm going to take over, and like basically like reintroduces all the sort of stifling atmosphere of the parents again, or at least that's what we get.
Yeah.
And so then Leon employs Pin to get rid of the aunt, but I thought was also really well done. I don't remember if that happens before or after the wheelchair scene.
It's after. It's before. It's before.
You're kind of like wondering, like, did he really know that was going to work? Like, like what would he have done if it hadn't worked?
I forgot about that. Yes. Spoiler. Yeah. He absolutely gives her a heart attack.
Yes.
Which I thought was a bit of a bummer, because I loved the scene in the book so much where he commits his first murder, and it's troubling to him.
Yeah.
And then in the movie, they just have him like killing another person. And I was like, oh.
Yeah.
And I think it's that translation again. Like I absolutely believe somebody like you throw the Ari Aster this movie and be like, make this movie, and you're going to get a 4-hour tour de force that's going to like blow minds. But an 80s movie, the translation was different at the time. So I'm surprised it's not a hacker slasher. Like I thought it was going to be like Pin with a knife, and then it turns out to
wondered too.
Leon, dressed up as Pin, like Norman Bates. You know what I mean?
It's a very unique movie for the 80s for sure. You don't get a lot of these psychological kind of slow burn type movies back then.
Yeah, the 70s were the king of that, I think.
Yeah.
I
feel like the aunt was just like they needed that beat in the middle of the movie to keep people going, just to keep someone watching.
Another place to put the blanket over your eyes. Yeah.
So let's see. After that, then Leon and Ursula are on their own.
Leon starts getting jealous.
Yes, he's getting he gets. There's of course some instances. But Leon is a lot more active, an active jealous brother than he is in the book. In the book, he's like dissatisfied with his sister's promiscuousness, but not really like doing anything. But in the movie, he's like actively like beating people up and everything else.
But it's weird. The book's creepier.
Yeah, for sure.
Like he has this stalker vibe. This insane. Yeah, the book's creepier. The movie's more like at one point you could be like, oh, this is an older brother. And I know the 80s had this huge thing about older brothers who got to protect their sisters. You know what I mean?
Right.
It didn't have the same level of creep that they pulled off in the book. Yeah, those for me, I think I've covered every scene that I thought was really incredible
until the ending.
Yeah,
that's when there's more major changes.
There's definitely changes, and they didn't bother me, but none of them stuck out as intensely better to me, except for the very, 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 and nothing better, but something different in a really good way.
Yeah, I agree.
Right. Yeah, do you want to jump to that?
Go right. Yeah, that's fine. Let's do that.
Yeah. So in the end, everything that happens in the book happens in the movie,
except there's no peg leg.
Yeah, there's a watch.
Yeah, they vaguely changed some of the details of how the murder happens, but it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, but
probably because it was easier. It's just easier to film, cheaper. That's probably what it was.
We still get the same concept of Leon becoming Pin, becoming an anatomical dummy and sitting in the window. And we learn that the beginning of the movie circles back around. The thing sitting in the window is Leon after his brain has broken and he has become Pin. One thing the movie did that absolutely sucked is the police are called and the Stan is okay.
Yeah, yes. Stan survives. Yeah, the love interest survives in the movie, which seemed. Oh, I mean, I guess they're just trying to soften the blow a little bit to maybe for appeal, but I don't think it helped the movie.
Stan and Ursula drive away and have a happy ending.
They do. It's just
and how is Leon going to stay at the house? He tried to murder somebody.
He had like a nurse, like a live-in nurse or something.
Yeah, he has a live-in nurse. One thing I noticed, and I don't know if it was a mistake or if they filmed this scene earlier and forgot about it, but when Ursula first walks into the house, there's a shot of her, and you can see the front room beside her, and all the plastic is back on the furniture. And I don't know if that's a statement or a film mess up.
Well, in the movie, there was a scene where the aunt comes back home, and she's like wanting to put the furniture under plastic. And she says, like, where's all the plastic? I found some of it, but I didn't find the rest. And they're like, oh, I think it's up in the attic.
Yeah, and I feel like that's the night that she dies. But
oh yeah, a good point.
I don't know. Either way, yeah, I didn't like this. I mean, it destroyed my suspension of disbelief that the cops would just be like, yeah, get him a nurse and he'll be fine.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe
he's only murdered one person. He's not constrained to the house at all.
Yeah, and maybe Stan didn't press charges, but I think there's a point when you try to murder somebody that it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's like it doesn't matter if you didn't mind somebody tried to murder you. We're still gonna
have yeah. There's a point.
He can murder me. It's fine.
I mean, he's rich, but
there's a point at the end that I really liked. First off, the voice of Pin is super scary. They did a great job on the voice of Pin in this movie.
Very creepy.
But right at the end, she's like, we're going away for a week to our super fun 80s vacation, and I'm fine and everybody's great. And she's like, do you need anything? And he says, wind the box. And this is a cool visual image that is used as a theme throughout the movie. It's a gift that Pin gives to Ursula, although it's actually from her dad. And she winds that up, and then Pin, his back, Ursula's his back's to her because he's looking out the window, says, have you heard from Leon? And I just thought that was incredible, and the actress handled it really well. The look of sadness on her face, and then Pin says, I miss him, and I think she says me too or something, but it was actually I really felt that moment. I thought it was good, and I think, like in the book, I don't feel like he becomes Pin. I think he becomes a dummy. Because even at the beginning, like you said, Bryan, when we go back to the prologue, which is actually the end of the book, he says everything began with Pin. So he knows he's not Pin. But in the
true.
Yeah. So in the movie, they decided to say, no, he has become Pin.
Yeah.
And it works. I love the ending of the book, and I really liked the ending of the movie as well.
I agree. Yeah. I think the book ultimately goes deeper into a lot of themes, but I think for what an 80s movie could do, it did a very good job.
Yeah. I think this could kind of be a cult classic. I think that there was some really good moments in this that I really enjoyed, and I had a lot of fun with the special effects of Pin and how they tried to make an anatomical doll, make you question whether it was alive and killing people or just Leon's craziness.
Yeah,
it was good. I really did enjoy it. I thought, I thought it remained as faithful to the book as it could, and then still did its own thing and made decent choices, and just kept it, and kind of kept the pace a different way from the book so that it would work. So definitely like a good, like it's rare to find a movie that has obviously not super high budget,
right?
That is made smart enough and well enough that it still works. And that's pretty cool.
Yeah, the camp is not thick here. There's a couple of moments where I was like 80s and laughed a little bit. But yeah, I didn't feel like the camp was super, super thick. I felt like they took themselves seriously.
Yeah, they kept a similar tone, or tried to at least. To the book. Yeah.
So I recommend this, and now I've screwed myself over because now I'm obsessed with this idea of Ari Aster's Pin.
Oh yeah,
I want to see that movie.
Same. Absolutely. I love Midsummer. I mean, not to get off topic, but
we'll talk about that movie in the future. I have a feeling. Our next read's going to be
Light at the End by
The Light at the End. This is Bryan or Tomb Licker's choice. Sorry, Bryan. This is
The light at the end. Wherever the end is, it's not. The light is not where Chris is.
No, it's
That's
not.
right.
The
Luke
light
Chris
went away. Yeah, so you can expect that coming up. Grab a copy, read along. If this is something that's on your radar, now is a good a time as any to read it along with us.
Yeah. And so hopefully that's coming up. And then we're probably within a couple weeks, we should have a live stream. Probably we're going to talk about each going to have 5 movies that we want to talk about, not necessarily our favorite movies, but 5 movies we want to talk about. And so we're just going to see how that goes. I think it'll be a really fun thing to talk about live.
Yeah,
5 horror movies.
Horror movies. Yeah, I'm sorry, not just movies.
Yeah, it's always horror with us.
So expect that as well. And we're obviously going to have. We don't know exactly when that's going to happen, but we're going to have some stuff on each one of our channels where we talk about when that'll happen and what time.
Stay tuned.
That's right. So thank you very much for joining us, Chris and Bryan. Darkness and doom to you,
and to you,
also, and to
you. And that'll be it. We'll go ahead and do our sign-off signature, I guess. Okay, here we go.
Virgil, you should just be like,
you get the idea.
Oh, that's true. You could be choking corpses. Bryan's licking, and I don't know. I'm just a wizard.
I don't know what we do.
I'll just have a beer.
You got a crypty. Who knows? Thanks very much.
Thank you.